welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited that you guys decided to come back onto this channel. I'm so excited that you guys decided to tune into this video, because you know what, I am always excited to come on here and make you guys amazing and beautiful content. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Seti Gomed, and if you're a first-time viewer and it's your first time seeing this gorgeous face, do click that subscribe button and might as well be part of the notification gang. So hit that notification bell and let's get straight to today's video. So on today's video, I wanted to talk about something that's very, very close to my heart. Something that I've always wanted to speak about, but have not always been ready. Like there were times where I would want to talk about this specific topic, but then I'd be like, am I ready enough? Do I feel like I know enough? Have I actually healed well enough? And only to find out that, you know what, there's never a very perfect time. You just go with your gut. You go with how you feel. And literally today I woke up in the morning and I got ready, and this is what I wanted to do. This is what my gut was telling me to do, and I really hope that it helps people out there, because honestly guys, mental illness is something that happens anywhere and everywhere. It could be happening to your friend, it could be happening to your cousin, it could be happening to your mom, it could be happening to your dad. And these are things that we don't pay attention to, especially as African people of darker skin, because we don't feel like mental illness is a real thing. And with me, like growing up in church, we would get told, or I would rather get told, that if I pray everything will be okay, which is I'm not even disputing the power of prayer, but it's so important that you do the work that needs to be done in order for you to be okay. I'm sorry I keep on flipping my braids, you guys. They keep on getting in my way, and I really want to get this topic through. So I realized that I was suffering from depression in my year of matric, right? And it's something that was always there, but I didn't really realize that it was what it was, which is depression. I always had a hard time with, number one, accepting myself. Number two, being nice to myself. I always had a hard time with just liking anything that had to do with me. Like anything that had to do with me, just I didn't like it. And what's crazy is, around people or in public settings, I would seem like I'm okay, and around people in public settings, I was the talk of not the talk of the town, but I was the most talkative one in the group. I was the funny one, and every time I would be then alone, it's when all these emotions and all these thoughts and all these feelings would rush back. And it happens, guys. That's why I always tell people, check on your strong friends, check on your most vibrant friends, because they might be going through more than what you think or what you could imagine. So I only realized this in matric. The year 2014 was a rather hard year, like in general. Like a lot happened in my family, and I was doing my matric year as well. And anyone who has done matric, which I think is everyone that's probably gonna watch this video, you know that matric is no joke, and there's so much pressure. And because of the pressure that was on me as far as matric's concerned, and then there was the things that were happening at home, I started realizing that something is really not okay with me, because all these feelings and all these emotions came at a triple. You know, I started feeling a lot more, I started crying a lot more, I started hating myself a lot more, I started becoming a lot more suicidal, which was in my year of matric. So before that, a lot of people can easily say mental illness is something that just happens, you know. And personally, I feel like it's the same, but I also feel like the things that happen around you contribute to your mental stability, your family, the friends that you keep, stability in general. Are you living in a stable setting? Those things contribute, right? They are major contributions. Whereas it might happen that someone who's not going through any of the things that I went through can also go through depression. That person can also go through depression. So it's not entirely the things that happen to you. It's not entirely the setting. It's not entirely your friends or your family that are the cause, because some people might have all those things in check but still suffer from mental illness. So that's the crazy thing about mental illness. It doesn't pick. You can be rich, you can be poor, you can be in a happy family, you can be in a messed up family. It will pull through. It will come through, and it will make itself known. So with me, I had rather the hectic type of family. And when I say rather the hectic type family, is we didn't have your typical normal family setup. People who know me, people who are close to me, know that I have grown in an abusive home. And when I say an abusive home, I mean I had a father that was abusive. But everyone else in my family. My mom was amazing and my siblings and whatnot, but I did have an abusive father. So that's something that you could look at as what people call daddy issues. So I had those issues of not having a relationship with my dad. On top of that, he was very abusive towards my mom as well as myself and my siblings, just out of the blue, and only to find out that he himself was going through some stuff. So I had that going on, and then it's just a whole lot of other things. I think I surrounded myself with the wrong people. I surrounded myself with the wrong friends. I got in all the wrong relationships, basically trying to fill a void that I felt because of what was happening at home, and that then led to an absolute explosion, and just the depression just came through. Now, don't get me wrong, when I do these kind of videos, I'm not magnifying or dignifying or trying to put depression on a pedestal. I want you to understand that I'm someone that had suffered from it. I'm someone that still gets triggered, and I'm someone that still believes that God has the power to heal. Don't ever get me wrong. So it was a matric where things just got hectic. Things got very hectic because the situation at home also just got more hectic, and now my father, who was abusive, fell ill, and we had to take care of him. Now you can imagine, I'm only 18, 19, I'm in matric, and I'm having to take care of my father, and whenever my father's in hospital, my mom is there from the beginning of the day up until the end of the day, and I'm at home taking care of my little brothers. So that really took on a massive part of my mental stability. I found myself attempting to take my life more than once. I found myself just being depressed. I didn't like waking up in the morning. All I wanted to do was eat. I hated looking at myself in the mirror. I hated talking to people. I hated relating with people. And if there was a way for me to like do anything that had to do with hurting myself, I was game. Like, I was down for it. And you could easily say I hated myself at that point, right? But you can't really say anything because there's a lot that's happening, and there's not really a lot of people that you can talk to because there's also like a lot that's happening at home, and everyone is like faced with something. My brothers are little, my mom is going through some stuff, so it's just a lot of things where you found yourself in situations where you can't really talk to anyone. Sorry, my little brother just walked in. You can't really talk to anyone. So I found myself in a deep, dark hole, literally. Fortunately, the year 2014 was also the same year that my relationship with God grew. And when I say my relationship with God grew, is because the things that were happening around me really put me in a corner, and I found myself having to pray. And I found myself having to pray a lot more than the usual person. I found myself in a space where every night I was crying. Every night I was contemplating whether or not I even deserved to live. And every night I was pleading to God to heal me. There's actually a meme. I don't know if it's a meme. No, it's a quote that I read that says, you don't know what it is to be hurt until you've had to beg God to heal you. I remember I used to beg God to heal me every night. I used to be like, Lord, heal me. Lord, I want to be okay. I want to be happy. I want to be like other kids. And I actually don't even want to get emotional, but I want to be like other kids. I want to be happy. I want to be joyous. But it's just this cloud that was in my head, and it's like everything that was happening around me was also not helping because it was just piling up on the pressure. It was just piling up on the sadness. It was just piling up on so many things, and it just became like, so literally every night I find myself praying, kneeling on my knees, crying that God, please heal me, please deliver me. That's why for me, I'm always the first person that maybe my friends would come to, and they'd be like, friend, I'm actually not okay about 1, 2, 3, because I'm actually the type of person, I want to get to the bottom of it, because I can't let someone leave after they had came to me for help and let them leave and go to sleep knowing or not having been okay, if that makes sense. So because that's what always happened to me. Every time I would reach out, it's either they would be like, no, just pray about it, or they'd be like, no, it's just, it happens sometimes, or they would be like, are you sure you're not being dramatic? And I would literally be saying to people, I feel like I want to die. Literally, and I really can't be mad at those people right now because they were going through their own things as well, you understand? But I was like begging God to heal me literally every day. every single night. I don't think I can remember of a night during that time, which is the year 2014, during that time where I went to bed. It was there's probably been were days where I was just like so tired from like being at school and then coming back home and then having to do all the work in the house because my mom was in the hospital tending to my dad. After doing all the work in the house, I'm having to cook, and then I've got homework to do. Then I have to study because I'm doing my matric year. Those days when I'm like super tired, I'll just get in my bed and just sleep, and those days were the best. So sometimes I would even like be grateful that, Lord, I'm grateful that I'm having to do all this work, because I know that by the time it's time to sleep, I'm going to doze off and literally be gone and dead, you know. So yeah, so 2015 became a lot more, was not as hectic as 2014, I would say, but it was pretty much the same thing every other day. But like I said, 2014, towards the end of 2014, my relationship with God was just that strong. I started reading the word a lot more, and the word, I think, was validating me on so many things, and it made me so happy with the fact that I had no one to speak to at the time. It made me so happy knowing that I could open my Bible and God would speak to me through his book, and God would speak to me through prayer. You know, I literally felt like most times while I was praying, it would literally feel like God was right there in the room. And I realized that, okay, this is how this relationship with God thing works. I stopped feeling like God was this big God that I went to church to every Sunday and sang about and read about. The more I prayed to him, the more it felt like he was sitting right here next to me, you know, and that helped me, that comforted me. And that's what I always tell people who are suffering from depression, people who are suffering from all these things, people who are suffering from suicidal thoughts. Pray. Because you pray once, you pray, but the third time you pray, it literally feels like you're having conversations with him, you know. So by the time 2015 came, I was strong. I was like, you know what, I got this. So 2015, as far as my mental stability is concerned, was by far not as bad as 2014. 2015, I'm going strong, you know. Every time I would get triggered, I would pray. Every time, you know, and it then goes back to what everyone would say, that pray. And I would be like, but y'all don't understand, I want to talk. And my prayer changed from just being prayer. I started having conversations with God, and that's what people don't understand, that your prayers are conversations with God. It's not your time to want to be perfect. It's not your time to want to be prim and proper. That's your time to break. That's your time to be like, Lord, this is what's happening, and this is how I feel. Lord, this is how broken I am. Lord, I don't want to be perfect around you. And every time I prayed, I literally, like, that was my time to just let go. All the time when I prayed, that was my time to let go. I had no time to be strong, because at the time, you can imagine, I can't break down in front of my little brothers who have a father that's in hospital and a mother that's having to take care of their father. On top of the fact that we didn't always have a stable relationship with our father, and just when he was starting to become stable, he suffered from a stroke, and he couldn't speak, he couldn't recognize any of us, he couldn't walk, he couldn't feed himself, all those things. So I couldn't break down in front of them because they're little. Do you understand? So my prayer time was literally my time where I would break down before God. I'd get in my room, close my door, open my Bible. He would speak to me in the word. And after speaking to me in the word, we would go into prayer, and I would just have an amazing conversation with him, and he would speak with me, and the Lord would comfort me. The word clearly states that he is a comforter. And guys, I'm here to tell you that Christ is a comforter. So 2015, I even stopped having suicidal thoughts because I started reading the word, and I realized that suicide is a sin and I would not go to heaven, period. So that helped me a lot. So read your word, guys. Don't kill yourselves, okay? Don't do it. 2015, 2016, 2017. In 2018, something very tragic happened to me. Unexpectedly, out of the blue, something happened to me in the middle of 2018, and boom. And when I say something happened to me, it's something very traumatic. and it's something that I don't really like speaking about, but something happened to me in 2018, and I found myself going back into the hole that I was in 2014. I found myself starting to really question God. I was like, you had me from 20, you had me. How could you let this happen to me? How I started hating myself all over again because of what had happened to me. I started, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror all over again, and I just started also getting into all sorts of like stupid relationships. I started getting into relationships with people who didn't know how to handle anyone's heart. I started getting into relationships with people, and I started magnifying them and putting them up on this pedestal where God was supposed to be, because remember, my relationship with God now was broken. I started being mad at him that, and then I remember that the same God who got you out of the depression in 2014 is still the same God that could get you out of the deep, dark hole that you are in right now in 2018. And so I started pushing myself again to read the word. I was still mad at God. I won't even lie. I was still very mad at God. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to stay in this hole anymore. And at this point, I already knew what it's like to be in there. And at this point, I was just like, it's dark in there, and it's grimy, and it's ugly, and I don't want to be in there anymore. Towards, I think it was in the ninth month, or in the eighth month, or the ninth month of 2018, I met my current partner, and man, I was so difficult with that guy. I was so difficult with him because of the fact that I had not healed. And the way I met him, I had no intentions, guys, of being in any relationship. I had no intentions. I had just been hurt, and I was just like, I was with trash, okay? And for the most part, I think I got into those relationships because I was trying to make myself feel good again. Because my relationship with God was just not that good. And then I met my partner, and we started off as friends. Like, we started off as, he was my nigga, and that's just that. And as time went by, he fell in love. He'll probably tell you guys a different version. I don't know. We'll see when he comes on here. But he fell in love, and I remember in a phone call that we were having, he said to me, he's like, dude, I don't think I want to be your nigga anymore. I think I want to be your man. And I was like, why? What's your point? And he was like, I think you're an amazing woman, and I want to be with you. And I was like, okay, we can be together, but just as long as this doesn't change, because I still want you to be my nigga. Like, I still want you to be my friend. And that never changed. However, in our relationship, so 2018, 2019 was the worst year as far as that is concerned, because that's when I started literally feeling like, okay, I'm starting to lose my mind again. Now, you need to understand, guys, that things like mental illness, things like depression, they go away, but they are triggers, and the enemy will bring triggers so that you kind of take a few steps back, so you'll take like 5 steps forward, and you're okay and you're strong, and the enemy will bring you triggers, right? And those triggers will literally cause you to take about 16 steps back. So in 2019, there were just some triggers that came, things that started reminding me of what had happened to me, things that started reminding me of all like the people I let in, and they ended up hurting me, and they ended up breaking my heart, and I started taking that out on him. And at the time, he didn't know what was happening with me, so he he would fight back, and I would be harsh to him, and he'd be harsh back, and we just started fighting with words, and I would break, because unfortunately, mentally, he's a little bit stronger than me, and me, I can't afford to be getting in riffraffs, because I am not okay mentally, if that makes sense. And I knew where I was coming from, but I just started not caring, and just becoming really harsh. And because he didn't know what was happening with me, and he didn't know what I had been through, because I hadn't shared with him that, listen, dude, I used to have this kind of a situation, or this is what I've been through, and I used to suffer from this, and 1, 2, 3. I didn't make that clear to him, so he just thought, this is just someone that's flying off the wall and deciding to come ruin my day, literally. And that's literally exactly what I would do. I would pick fights. I was just harsh. I was rude. And because he's human, the human thing to do is you want to fight back. And only ultimately I ended up telling him, I'm like, look, dude, this is what's happening with me, and I'm starting to realize that the way I'm treating you is not okay, and that's because I think I'm not okay. And I told him. He was actually one of the first people I told. Yeah, he's literally the first person I told about what had happened to me in 2018. And I said, right before I met you, this is what happened to me and all that stuff. And I don't think, first of all, he didn't even flinch. He didn't even look at me like I'm this weirdo that's suffering from, that's got a mental instability. First of all, people who are depressed are not sick. Let's get that out the way. Because immediately when you say the word depression, especially in the black community, people are like, you know, and that's not the case. He didn't flinch, and he became a lot more kinder to me, and that helped me also on my journey of healing, you know. And now, because I knew that he knew, there was nothing really that was frustrating me anymore, to a point where I wanted to fight him. Or because I think for the most part, a lot of what caused me to act out, or a lot of what caused me to just pick fights and would always just end up in a bad space, because it was just a lot of frustration, because a lot of things were painted up inside, and I wasn't speaking. And then he became, you know, right after prayer, he became the person that I spoke to. You know, I would speak to God. Obviously, I still spoke to God. God was still my number one. But I was lucky enough now to have this partner that I could also sit with and speak with, and tell that I'm not okay. And while I'm crying at night, I could call him literally at any time when I'm crying at night, and just be like, I think I'm done with life. And he would just be like, no, you're not. No, you're not. It's not gonna happen. So, fast forward up until now, I will say right now I'm at a much better place. I think I'm at a great place, actually, because my relationship with God has grown. To an extent that now I've even gone into ministry. And when I say I've gone into ministry, I have actually started using my gift as a way to glorify God. And I actually use my experience now as a way to be able to equip other people to be like, depression can't break you. Depression can't hold you down. Depression can't break your relationships. Depression cannot make you want to take your own life, because you know what, there's this God that's able to heal. There's this God that's able to comfort. There's this God that is able to literally pick you up from any bad situation. And I stand in front of people now, and I look, and I'm like, look, you know. And do I have days when it gets hard? Absolutely. Do I have days when it gets a bit dark? Absolutely. Do I have days when the enemy tries his utmost best to come for my mental stability, to come for my positivity? Definitely. But I don't ever forget how God took me out in 2014. He is still able to take me out in 2020, 2021, and years to come. And I always convince myself that the enemy doesn't bark at an empty car. He doesn't bark. Yeah, the enemy doesn't. A dog doesn't bark at a car that's not moving. You understand? So the fact that the enemy is coming at you, and you're thinking these thoughts, and you're going through this thing, and you can't sleep at night, and you're praying, it means the enemy knows that you are what? You are powerful. Period. So I really hope that this helps someone who is suffering from depression, or you know someone that's suffering from depression, you know someone that's suffering from anxiety. I know in the year 2019, I started, I think I had my first few anxiety attacks. I think I had an anxiety attack in primary school, because I told you there's something that had followed me all my life, but I thought it's whatever, you know. Only when I turned 18 in matric, where it just became a lot more hectic, and then it was just like, wow. So in the year 2019, I started having, I had like a reflux of panic attacks, and the last time I had a panic attack was in grade 7 in primary school. So I think these things work together. I don't know, because once your mind starts thinking things and all of that stuff, I will do a follow-up video so we can speak about the facts and causes. But I did speak in the beginning that it can literally happen to anyone. There are no causes. It can happen to someone who's growing up in a perfect home. It can happen to someone who is rich. It can happen to someone who is poor. But I really hope that whoever watches this video knows that you can come out of it. You are stronger, you are bigger, and the God that lives inside you is greater, and the God that lives inside you is powerful. I will insert some scriptures down below, as well as some references to some passages that I read, and that I keep on reading, so you guys can keep on reading, equipping yourself, and we can keep on praying, because prayer conquers